one of my good friends who owned a coffee shop is officially closing, and you know, I've obviously asked him if this video was okay to make, because he does watch this channel, and he's 100% for it because he wants people to avoid the mistakes that he made in his coffee shop business, in order to prevent anybody from failing, because it's likely and unfortunately your coffee shop probably will fail unless you follow these strategic steps, which I'm going to list in this video. Thanks for coming back to this channel, and welcome to this channel if it's your first time here. This channel is all about owning, growing, and starting a small business and entrepreneurship. So if you're into any of that, please hit the subscribe button down below. We have owned this grocery store for about 4 years now, / coffee shop takeaway, that I added about 3 years ago now, and they've been steadily increasing, patiently increasing, we'll say, over the last few years, as well as this channel. So thank you, and hit the thumbs up button. It really helps this channel and this small business grow, and we will send a free cappuccino to your house on May 3rd, 2022. Please let me know down in the comment box below if you are starting your own coffee shop or you own a coffee shop. I'd love to hear all about it. I'm always really interested in what people are doing for their businesses and how they're growing or starting a business, where they're located, and you know, sometimes I wish to actually get out and visit some of those businesses. And you know, getting into these mistakes, I'm not trying to preach to you guys and, you know, say that I was perfect. I've made all of these mistakes many times over. I've done this, I've been through it, and I want to use this channel to help you kind of navigate around these mistakes that so many entrepreneurs, including myself, have made. And I was lucky enough to make some of these mistakes and still recover and still, you know, have a decently successful business. But many other places, many people have committed these mistakes and ended up, you know, losing everything, shutting down their businesses, end up with tons of loans and, you know, leases that they can't get out of. So that's exactly what I want to prevent on this channel, because you know, this is just knowledge that I feel everybody should have before starting their business. And I've done a lot of this research myself. I've talked to many business owners, many coffee shop owners, and they all kind of say the same things on what they needed to be successful, and these are the mistakes that you need to avoid. This coffee shop per se that my friend owned was owned for about 18 months. It started out okay, and then the problems that were already there kept kind of growing and growing and growing, and then they eventually ran out of money, and it was never very profitable in the first place, so they decided to shut it down and negotiate with their landlord what to do with the lease. It was a 5-year lease, so they are looking to release it to another coffee shop who is looking to move into it, sell the equipment and the assets that they spent renovating. And unfortunately, this is how it ends for many coffee shops, and even getting past that first year is a milestone, because it's such a competitive, thin margin industry at the end of it all that I'd say 75 to 80% of coffee shops fail within their first year, and you don't want to be one of them. So that's why I'm doing these 5 points and maybe a bonus point at the end if you stick around, on how to succeed in your coffee shop business. So mistake number 1 that I find with people who open small businesses or restaurants or coffee shops, for example, is they don't have any experience in the industry. From the outside looking in, you go to your favorite coffee shop, everything looks, you know, glamorous, the owner's kind of in and out, or they're not even there, and everything looks like a lifestyle business where you don't have to, you know, really be there 24/7, or it's not as stressful as having a regular job. But this isn't the case, and the real true kind of reality that hits you when you enter a business that you have no experience in is truly one of the main reasons why you will fail. You need to have experience in a coffee shop before opening your coffee shop. And I've said this on this channel so many times, but it's just so important so you actually know the ins and outs of how to manage one. Now you hear the same thing always. Oh, I'm a great cook, I can open a restaurant. I know how to throw a great party, we can run a bar. Or I make the best espresso, cappuccinos, lattes, and butter tarts. I can open a cafe and it'll be successful just based on those things. Unfortunately, you have no idea how to manage customers, manage ordering, scheduling, attracting customers, marketing. All of that stuff comes with you actually running and working in a coffee shop day to day. So I would suggest, and you may think I'm crazy, to spend at least 1 year working for another coffee shop before you open your own. This is how you will learn the experience, see if you actually enjoy it, and actually want to work in a coffee shop every day, because when you first open, you will be working in it every day. This way it gives you time to learn the business, learn what you would do better, learn what they're doing wrong, learn what makes money, learn what sells, learn what doesn't sell. And these are all really important things that you can only learn by working in a coffee shop day in and day out for somebody else. And nobody likes that reality. Nobody likes that answer that I give them, where you need to work in a business before opening one, because nobody wants to work anywhere for minimum wage again, where they don't have to. But think of it as a learning experience that will benefit you in your future. It will really help you mitigate your risks on failing. Second mistake I find is terrible location. The location is pretty much everything. Even if you're the best coffee shop in town, or you have the best coffee or the best pastries or the best lunch, if you're in a bad spot, your business will never take off. It will never be everything it could be because you're in a bad spot. There's not too many people that will go completely out of their way to get good coffee, right? Your coffee may be good, but is it that good to travel an extra 20 minutes to get to? You know, when people think coffee, they're thinking on their way to work, quick, convenient, or a nice spot in a neighborhood where everyone kind of knows each other. That's kind of how it works for our store. Really think about the location, because at the end of the day, even if it's a cheap rent in a bad spot, you'll never get out of that grind where you always need to try to market to get customers to your door, or you never have a good enough flow to make it worthwhile because you're in a bad spot. So sometimes paying a little bit more in rent for a better location is a better long-term plan, because you'll just have that constant flow of people, the people that constantly come in and day out, and that's gold for a coffee shop. Your regular customers, a well-oiled machine that has the same people coming in and out plus new customers. That's exactly what happened with our store and our takeaway coffee shop. Lots of things to consider with your location. Is it well visible from the road? Is there a lot of offices or schools where there's clientele that are looking for coffee and snacks and lunch? Is there a lot of competition, Starbucks, Tim Hortons, whatever it may be, right nearby? Sometimes you can differentiate and be very different from them, that you still can get a good amount of people who are not willing to go there and want to support a local coffee shop. So think about why you're in the spot. Think about why your customers are coming to you. Once you figure out why your customers are coming to you, that's the battle that you've already won, and don't have to worry too much about advertising as much, because you already realize I know my customers are coming because we're in a good spot, we have good coffee, and our customer service is great. Is that why they're coming to you? Are they coming to you because you offer vegan selections? You really have to figure out why they're coming to you, and when you're in a good location, it's a lot easier to figure out why they're coming to you. So the third mistake, and this goes across any business, is poor management. The main thing I find with poor management is the staff isn't treated correctly, the inventory isn't purchased correctly, there may be too much inventory, so therefore there's too much spoilage. There may be not enough inventory, so you don't have enough to sell, and your average sale is $3-4 when it should be $13 to $14 per customer. So there really needs to be a fine balance on how much you're ordering and how much waste that you're okay with kind of throwing out day to day, because there will always be a little bit of waste. But with the right management should come the right ordering. Perfect amount where there's enough for the customer to purchase. You know, they don't just buy a coffee and then there's a very few desserts that they can purchase. You want to have a good selection, but not too much where you are hanging on to stuff too much and then it starts spoiling on you. If you look around, there's $30, $40, $50,000 worth of inventory in this store that we have to constantly keep track of in order to make sure it doesn't spoil, it's selling fast enough, it's what the customer wants. There's a lot that really goes into planning on how much inventory you need, what type of inventory you need, and how much waste you're okay with giving away. So at the end of the day, with the proper management, this should be something that doesn't affect your business. And there's probably many coffee shops that end up throwing away more desserts than they're selling, because either they're not busy enough, they're not buying the right products, they're buying too much of them. So it really is a fine balance that you have to come and figure out by testing the waters a little bit, seeing how much you need and what you need. And that comes with being a good manager. So that's one of the things that really truly can bring your business down if you don't have the right people in the right places. Mistake number 4 is probably not the biggest reason of failure, but it will be the biggest reason you cannot grow your business. And this is being the same as everybody else. The mistake that many businesses you see out there is they're very, very similar. There's nothing unique. There's nothing, too different that pulls in a crowd. You really want to find your niche and your specialization and what brings people in. Again, just because you have good coffee and a few pastries is really not going to draw too many people in that would rather just grab a quick coffee and a donut. What makes you different, what makes you stand out, is what will bring more customers in. Are you specializing in vegan or keto or gluten-free? What makes your cafe different than the other thousands of cafes or hundreds of cafes in your city? So how do you justify, someone spending $1 down the street at Tim Hortons for a coffee and $4 at your place? What is the draw? What makes you different? And then don't go too far on the other side where you're so unique and complex and you have so many things going on that no one really knows exactly what you are. You can't try to do everything, because then you end up doing nothing. And we've all been to those places, where the menu has 50 pages, pizza, shawarma, burgers, wings, then they're a cafe, then they're a bar. They're trying to be everything to everyone, and it's just not going to work like that. So find your niche, specialize in it, and this is what will bring your first customers in. And then, you can try little by little some other things, some other offerings, once you perfect it and get good at the main thing that you were trying to achieve. Mistake number 5 is the improper staff, or a poor staff, or a staff that isn't performing well enough. And this can be a toxic staff where there's drama and gossip, and this happens at every establishment. But managing those problems quick in the right way, where the staff feels respected, or you eliminate problem employees or other problems that arise are handled well, will prevent a higher turnover rate, which will save you money at the end of the day, which will have your coffee shop function even better. And it really comes without saying that training staff over and over and over is not only very frustrating, but will cost you more and more money every time you have to start someone new from scratch in order to have them catch on for 2-3 weeks, and then they all of a sudden don't like it and end up quitting. So that is also a cost you need to take into consideration, and you may have a really hard time finding that oiled machine that it's going to take to run your establishment right. And it goes without saying as well that the owner can be the problem as well, or the manager can be the problem as well. It's not, you can't blame the staff if it's not the staff. So it really needs to be every wheel is spinning together, and the thing is just working well, staff, management, and everything else included. There's not one part can work and the other one can't, because then the whole system just falls apart. An example, the friend that I had that owned the coffee shop, he had employees stealing from him and or giving away freebies, and you really have to monitor that, because you can start losing quite a bit of money day to day if you don't manage what goes in and what comes out. And sometimes cameras are needed to control that, or kind of pinpointing where the stuff is going if the sales don't add up. It takes a lot to manage, but you got to really be careful on the employees you hire and how fast you are willing to get rid of an employee who's stealing from you. Staff can be one of the biggest problems a small business has, because it's easy to get things like stealing undetected or giving away freebies to their friends without someone always watching over and reprimanding or kind of letting them go if needed. There will be times where people don't show up and you, the owner, will have to go cover them, or they won't tell you at all and your store won't be opened, and all of a sudden you realize, hey, I'm not making any sales today. Is the store even opened? Check the cameras or see if the cash register was opened on your phone, and all of a sudden you got to go in yourself. So there's really a lot to manage when you are considering hiring the right people and keeping the right talented baristas, and probably paying them a little bit more to get them to stick around, because a talented barista may bring in their own customers, may keep your customers happy, or just has perfected the art better than you, and they're worth the money that they are making, and even then some, who knows. So keep that in mind. If you have to pay people a little bit more to keep them on staff, then that may be the way to go. Mistake number 6 is poor planning. They didn't come up with a business plan. They didn't have any cost projections. They didn't know how much it was going to cost to open their business. Things like that are the reasons you see businesses open and close within a few months, because they ran out of money, because they underestimated how much things were going to cost. They didn't, foresee or predict that they weren't going to be making any money for the first, year or two, because they figured, the coffee shop will be busy enough, I could, make a little bit here and there and survive off of it. But really, the owner's salary, you may not have a salary for the first year or two. And if that's going to be a problem, then this business basically doesn't need to exist. If you have no money to pay your personal bills and survive, then unfortunately the business that you're starting is going to be a problem from day one, because I can tell you that you will not make any money for the first year. It's just 95% of the time this is how it goes, and unfortunately you won't be taking owner's salary for a little while. And I don't mean to be dramatic, but this is just what I've seen, this is what I've studied, this is what I've learned. It's happened with my store and my coffee shop as well. So that's just another thing that shuts down businesses. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say, I wish I could start a business, I just don't know where to start with the business plan, or the numbers, or how to get the loans, or what licenses I need. Well, I can tell you that nobody really knows that until you actually look into it and start with step 1. Look into it. And so many people, I wanted to start this, or I wanted to start that, but at the end of the day, years and years go by and they still say the same things. I wanted to start, but I didn't have a business plan. I don't know how to do this, so I didn't bother starting. Unfortunately, you're going to have to sit down and take the time to learn exactly what you need for your business. What licenses, a business plan would be perfect, how to get the financing would be good, cost estimations that you need. People get stuck in this ideas or analysis paralysis where they want to figure out everything before they start, but that's just not how it works. And at the end of the day, guys, there's obviously going to be businesses that didn't have a business plan that worked out, or there's obviously going to be businesses that they didn't need a 2-year financial projections and it worked out for them. But these are just things to help you lower your risk of failure. They're not 100% foolproof. There's going to be businesses on the other end of the spectrum that they started with the right amount of money, the right amount of planning, the right staff, the right this, the right that. Everything was done, the planning was there, but they still ended up failing, because this is business and there's no guarantees and everything's a risk, right? So these are just tips to lower that risk and prepare you to perform well, let's say it that way, because proper planning prevents poor performance, the 5 P's. So just remember that. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you take these with some value. Just remember this, if anything: proper planning prevents poor performance. The 5 P's, baby. Keep saying it to yourself. I've been saying it all day. I hope I can follow it one day. Have a good night.